Hey boys and girls, so today we're on page 161, 162, and 163. The title of this lesson is called Rename Mixed Numbers to Subtract. A word that you're familiar with is either to regroup or rewrite mixed numbers. And remember, a mixed number is a fraction where there is both a whole number and a fraction. Okay, so that is a mixed number. It's a mix of both whole numbers and fractions. By the end of this lesson, you're going to be able to subtract mixed numbers by renaming. And like I said, that's like regrouping or rewriting. Okay, number one, Larry rides his bike to the park. On his way home, he gets a flat tire. How far does Larry have to walk to get his bike home? So this is a map of Harry's travels. He went from home to the park. It took him 3 and 1/4 miles. On his way back, he was able to travel 2 and 3/8 miles before his tire became flat. So he wants to know, what is this distance? How far does it take from him to go from where his flat tires happened to where his house is? Okay. So on the side here, I've already got up my fraction tile set up, and this is available for you in the assignments on Ed. Okay, it's the first one, iFraction Tools. Okay, so I'm going to go back to our problem. So the first thing it wants me to do for part A is to write an expression, keyword expression. So I'm just stating what's going on in this problem. So I have 3 and 1/4, and I'm subtracting 2 and 3/8. Part B says it wants me to use the fraction tiles to make the fraction part of my mixed numbers 8. Okay. So this way I can subtract, because I cannot subtract these fractions right now because the denominators are not equal. So I'm going to go ahead over here and I'm going to exchange my 1/4 to 2/8 because I know that 1/4 is equal to 2/8, just like that. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and delete my 1/4. I'm going to take these apart and move them over here. Okay. So I just did that. Now it says, what's your new fraction? Well, now I have 3 and 2/8 on one side, and I have still 2 and 3/8 on the other side. Okay, and if you want to know how to do this mathematically without the fraction tiles, all we do is take 1/4 and multiply it by 2 so that the 4 is equal to 8. Okay, do you have enough fraction tiles to subtract the fractional part of the distance that Larry read home? So it's saying just look at the fraction part of the mixed number, 2/8 minus 3/8. Can I do that? If you only have 2/8 right here, and you want to take away 3/8, can you do that? No, you can't, because the fractional part is less. Okay, the part of the fraction of the first number is less. So so you could say no, 2/8 is less than. Oh, sorry, I was supposed to say yes. Is less than 3/8. I'm sorry for my handwriting right now. Um, okay. Part D. How can you represent the distance Larry rode to the park using fraction strips so you're able to subtract? So basically, it's saying, okay, so if you can't subtract this right now, what can you do so we can subtract? Because I know I can figure out what this distance is, but what do I need to do to be able to figure it out mathematically? So what we're going to do, and this is where that renaming part of our lesson comes from, is I'm going to have to borrow from one of my holes. So I'm going to have to take this hole and I'm going to have to replace it with eights. And the reason it has to be eights is because that's what our common denominator is. Okay, so I know that to make a hole out of eights, I'm going to need 8 eighths. Actually, let me not put these together. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So now I'm going to go ahead and delete that hole. Okay. So now it wants me to go ahead and, well, it's basically what I just said. So I exchanged one hole for 8 eighths. Okay. So I'm just going to write that as a little key for you. 1, and I transferred it, or I exchanged it, or I renamed it for 8 eighths. Okay, and now it wants me to represent my new problem with the fraction strips using mixed numbers and an equation. Okay, so I can subtract. So I'm using an actual equation. So I have 2, and now I have a total of 8, 9, 10. 10 eighths. And I know you're saying, well, we can't have a bigger number on top. Well, in this case, we kind of need it because we need to subtract. Okay, and we've done this before when we've had dots and sticks. Okay, and then I'm still subtracting that 2 and 3 eighths. All right, so 2 minus 2, those cancel out, so I'm not going to have any more whole numbers. And I'm going to do 10 minus 3, which is 7 out of 8. The denominator stays the same. We do not change it. So how far does Larry walk his bike home? He walks it 7 out of 8, 10, out of 7/8 miles. Okay, remember to always label. All right. The next set of problems are pretty much the same as what we just did here with Larry. I'm just going to flip over so you can see them. Here we're doing the same thing. Students eating pizza. So this is 5th graders eating pizza. These are 4th graders eating pizza. It wants to know, write an expression to model this problem that's happening here. Okay, so pay attention here. They're cut out of 3s. These are thirds. And up here, these are cut out of 6ths. Okay, and then it wants you to estimate each of the fractions. So this is about how much. This is about how much. And then, just go through the steps of the questions. They're very similar to what we just did in the problem before. And then finally on page 163, it is another situation again with water bottles. So this is how much water Sarah's horse drinks. This is how much water Sarah's donkey drinks. Answer the questions, very similar to what we just did. And the here is just to check understanding. So can you do it without them breaking it down for you step by step? Can you figure it out and apply the steps yourself to be able to figure out this small word problem and these two straight out arithmetic problems? As always, boys and girls, if you have any questions, we're going to meet up today at 1 o'clock to go over these pages. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.